Hi everybody, I wanted to put together a presentation. I guess start with cascading style sheets or CSS. And so we know that HTML has formatting tags. We can do bolding, we can do italics, we can do our headings, and those tags specify how the browser should display or format our document. To give us greater control over our document formatting, HTML developers, by that I mean the people who actually design HTML, came up with the concept of cascading style sheets. And style is just formatting style, I guess, for lack of a better word, that you would apply to a specific element. And so maybe we want our background color to be blue. That's a style. Maybe we want our text font to be Times Roman. That's a text style. Maybe we want a specific font size. Maybe we want to have our div overlap another. Those are all styles that we can apply to our document using cascading style sheets. Now, when we took a look at images, for example, we found that we could apply rounded borders by applying a style. And so that's a great deal of formatting that you can actually apply with CSS. And CSS is actually the preferred means of how you do things, meaning there's some old HTML tags, and some of them are becoming deprecated, that you can use to get the same result. The goal is to move everything to cascading style sheets. It's easier to manage. It's easier to manage across a wide set of pages, and so you can get the same styles on all of your pages in an easier manner than individually styling things with HTML tags. And so let's go ahead and get started and take a look. So we're going to first talk about an inline style. And the inline style is so named because we're putting it in line within our HTML tag. And so if you look down at the bottom here, I'm saying I want to do a horizontal or a heading 1 style or heading 1 tag with a color equals red. And then I just do my normal HTML after that. And so the browser, as it's rendering my page, is going to see the heading 1 tag, says, okay, we know it's going to be a big text, big font, but he wants to use the color red. So let's take a look at the style attribute that I'm applying for to create an inline style. I use the style keyword, so it's an attribute. I have the equal sign that says, here comes the attribute's value. 2 open quotes, and so within my quotes, I specify the style I want to apply. And so with CSS, the style tag is always going to be for inline styles, what we're going to use. Then there's a variety of style attributes. We have color, we have font, we have alignment, we have various attributes for various HTML tags. Border rounding, for example, or rounded borders with images. And so we need to know those. And so the W3 Schools website, for example, as it lists various tags, it also HTML tags, it also tells you the different style attributes that you can apply. And so we have our attribute color, and we separate our attribute from the value we're assigning with a colon. So we say color colon red. That says, okay, let's go all the way back. I've got an H1 tag. I'm applying a style to it using the style keyword. I've got my equal sign, and then my quotes are going to contain the different styles I'm going to apply, because I could say I want it to be red, I want it to be this font, I want it to be this font size. And so if I have multiple attributes, I'm going to separate each one of those within my 2 quotes with semicolons. So here we're going to use CSS to apply a background image. And so if you take a look at my body tag, my HTML body tag, I've got the style keyword, my equal sign that says, okay, go ahead and assign the following style. The CSS attribute in this case is background-image. There's my colon to say the value's coming, and then I specify a URL. Now this will work on your system, because the URL is an absolute reference to an image that's out on the web. So you can actually try this code and use CSS to apply your background style. But again, totally different application. First one, we assigned a color to a H1 tag. Here we're doing a background image, but we always use that for inline styles. The style keyword followed by the value, followed by the attribute, a colon, and the value that we want to assign. So here's some font manipulation using CSS. And so for our body tag, we're saying we want the default font to use the Comic Sans font family. And so sure enough, if we look down there, our H1 tag by default, because it doesn't specify another font type, is getting that Comic Sans look and feel. And then we've got a paragraph text, and our paragraph text is also Comic Sans. And now we could have overridden either one of those H1 tags or the paragraph tag with its own font attributes and had those apply just to that element because it's an inline style. So here's some imaging positioning. And so I've got 3 different images. I've got wine, I've got pizza, and I've got cigars. Sounds like a good weekend at my house. And so I'm using absolute positioning, and I'm specifying not just their left and right positions, but I'm also specifying the z-index. The z-index allows me to stack things on top of each other on my page. So I've got the overlooking feel. What's important to note here is that for each one of the images within the style attribute, I've specified multiple CSS styles. And you can see that I separate each one with a semicolon. So I've got position, colon, absolute, semicolon, left, colon, 500, semicolon. And so I'm specifying those multiple attributes. I just simply separate them with a semicolon. The browser will say, okay, he's using multiple values. I got it. And so in this image, we've got lots of things going on. I've got inline styles that are affecting the font color and font. I've got styles I'm applying to images. And so now we're starting to get a lot of styles going on. And so this is where we're going to kind of step to the next stage in cascading style sheets, in that if we find ourselves applying the same style over and over and over, we can kind of cut and paste them, cut and paste them, cut and paste them. But then what if we say, oh, I really don't want it to be red, I want it to be blue. Then we're going to go through and edit, 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 edit. And so there's, rather than using inline styles are great when we have kind of a one-off. Now we'll take a look at doing something a little bit different. And so we can embed our style definitions. And so we've got inline styles, we're going to have embedded styles, and we're going to have external styles. And those are kind of our 3 ways to do our cascading style sheets. Cascading style sheets are so named because their definitions kind of cascade. The browser starts with a default set of things. It's got default fonts, it's got default colors, it's got its defaults. So that's step 1. If you don't do anything, you don't specify anything, you're going to get the browser defaults. Then we're going to have an external style sheet. It's going to have some definitions in there. It'll override some of the browser defaults. Again, if there's nothing in there, you're going to get the defaults. Beyond the external style sheets, we're going to have embedded style sheets, and those are definitions that will appear at the top of our HTML file. And then beyond that, we're going to have our inline styles, which you just used. So we start with browser defaults, external, embedded, inline, and so they kind of cascade down much like a waterfall. So when we do an embedded style sheet, we specify our definition within the head portion of our HTML document. And so here you can see that I've got a style tag, and I've got in style tag. I've got my head tag, I've got my end head tag. And so within my style tag, I specify that, hey, these are going to be CSS definitions. So I have a type slash equals text slash CSS. Then I specify the element that I want to style. I want every H1 heading within this document to be the color blue. Now if I come back later and say, oh, I wish they were all red, I can just make the change in one spot. So the browser is going to apply any style definition that it finds here throughout the entire document. So earlier you saw how we were starting to get lots of definitions everywhere. Well, if we can just embed the definitions that we want, the browser in turn will then apply them. So here's how we started to clean things up just by using those embedded styles. And so we put all the styles at the top of our document. So we've got image style, where we're specifying the borders. We've got paragraph style, where we're specifying the color, the font to be italic, the alignment to be left. We've got H1 style definition, the color's red, the font is italic, the style is left. And so we've got those things, we're applying them to the entire document, so we didn't have to have them spread throughout the document. And so when we have embedded style sheets, remember our kind of our cascade: browser default, external, embedded, and then inline. Our inline will override what we do with the embedded. So if we say, I want all of my H1 tags to be blue, and then you get down to the bottom, I really want this one to stand out, so I want to make it red. Then I can use an inline for that particular style, and it will override the definitions for the embedded. So here's a case where we've done just that. So up at the top of the document in our head section, we've got our style tag, and we're saying we want all paragraph color to be blue with an orange background. And so you can see, well, in my document, I've got an orange one, a yellow one, an orange one. So I must have overridden something somewhere for a paragraph. And so sure enough, if you look down for that third paragraph, it's got an inline style that says, nope, this one's yellow. And sure enough, it has the same font color. It's blue, but it's on a yellow background text because we overwrote it. Now, an external style sheet, we talked about those because we said we've got browser defaults, external style sheets, embedded, and then inline. Are useful when you've got multiple pages that you want to all use the same style. That's most websites. Most websites have multiple pages. And so in this case, we can take those same definitions that we're putting within our style tags at the top of our document, move them into a separate file, and then make a reference to that file at the top of our page, and we'll see how to do that. So here's a sample external style sheet. Note that there's no HTML tags. These are just pure CSS styles. So I've got an H1 specification, I've got a paragraph specification. In this case, I'm calling this file sitestyles.css. And so I create this with Notepad, I create this with the same editor that I'm using to create my HTML pages. Now, within my HTML files that I want to use those styles in my head sections, I use a link tag to say I want a link to an external style sheet file, and here's its name. And the browser will download that style sheet file. So it's got to reside on our web page, just like our images do or our JavaScript do. And so the browser will find it, download it, and apply it. So now we truly have browser defaults, our external style sheet, our embedded styles, our inline styles. And here's my picture of that. And so let's stop there. We'll take a look in another presentation of some more advanced CSS style capabilities, but you can see how easy and quick it really is to take advantage of cascading style sheets. So have a great week, and I will see you in the threads.